everyone, we're ready for chapter 8 of My Life as a Broken Bungee Cord, and chapter 8 is called Uh-Oh. It wasn't the most comfortable night I'd ever had. Despite the rumors, hard ground is not good for your back, rocks do not make good pillows, and a giant flattened out balloon makes a terrible blanket. But the company was good. After a little talk and prayer, everyone seemed a bit more relaxed. Even Opera was less scared. "You're starting to get the hang of this, aren't you?" I asked as we all settled in for the night. "A little," he admitted, "but I'm still not going to sleep." "Why not?" "If I'm going to get killed by a bear, I at least want to be awake to remember the details." With that, he crawled under the balloon. "For warmth," he said. "Lay down, for comfort," he said. Closed his eyes, to rest them, he explained, and promptly started to snore. Good old Opera. Wall Street and Miguel were the next to drop off, but not before Wall Street tried to talk to her brother more about God. She didn't get far. "Look, sis," he cut her off. "I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it. But it's like I told Mama. I'm not ready to listen. Not yet." There was kind of a long, uneasy tension, maybe a couple of sniffles from Wall Street's side of the balloon, but eventually they both dozed off. It took me a little while longer to get to sleep. Well, if you can call what I did sleep. Sure, my eyes were closed, but my imagination was going full throttle. And since I'd left old Betsy back at the lodge, there was only one place for that imagination to work: in my dreams. Suddenly, I was watching Ecology Man clinging to the boulder for his life as toxoid breath tried to suck him into the vacuum cleaner. Just when our handsome hero is about to lose his grip, in more ways than one, the vacuum cleaner starts sparking and shorting out. "What's going on?" Toxoid breath bellows. Ecology Man spots one of his beaver friends from the forest gnawing into the electrical cord. "Beeve, don't!" Ecology Man shouts. "You'll be electrocuted!" But old Beeve doesn't listen. His brother Wally and his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cleaver, have already been trapped and shipped off to Rerun Land. Now it's just him and Eddie Haskell, which is more than the Beeve can stand. Quicker than you can say, "Look out! Here come the puns!" Old Beeve takes one last bite into the electric cord, and he lights up like a Christmas tree. Talk about a shocking experience. I mean, the moment is really electrifying. It is charged with high voltage action. Had enough? No? Well, here's a few more. It is full of power. In short, it's a real hot and current moment. In other words, poof, zip, crackle, pop. The vacuum cleaner shuts down faster than the school building on Friday afternoon. Suddenly, Molly the mole pops up underneath our hero. Suddenlier still, she drags him down underneath the ground into her underneath the ground tunnel. "Thanks, Molly," our hero gasps as he glances around the tunnel. "Hey, I like what you done with this place. When did you add the tennis courts?" "The same time we built the swimming pool," she says, whistling through her big front teeth. "Rrrr, what's that?" Molly whistles. Suddenly, a drill bit the size of a Buick crashes through her ceiling. "Rrrr!" Then another and another. "Somebody must be drilling for oil." "No way," our hero shouts. "It's Toxoid Breath and he's drilling for me." With a quick goodbye kiss on the cheek for Molly, Ecology Man scurries out of the molehole to confront the troublesome tyrant. But Toxoid Breath has only begun to terrorize. Quickly, he produces a dozen cans of orange spray paint. And quicklier still, he sprays graffiti on everything he can find. Rocks, trees, old Ross Perot bumper stickers. Now it's time for Ecology Man to call upon his superpowers of nature. Now it's time to use what only super-trained superheroes like himself, so don't try this at home, kids, are qualified to use. He throws back his head and cries to the heavens, "Oh, heavenly lights, be gone from hither! Help me make this monster quiver!" And just like that, the sun disappears. A neat trick for 1:30 in the afternoon. But remember, this is my story, so I can do anything I want. Quickly, old Bio Boy draws his slide projector from his slide projector holster and fires off a series of pictures. There's a slide of a rainforest, then a spotted owl, then baby seals that haven't been clobbered. No, stop! Toxoid Breath screams. Our hero continues the attack. He shows streams without pollution, coastlines without oil spills. It's too pure to look at! Stop it! Stop it! It's time to finish him off. Our hero twists open a bottle of mountain spring drinking water and starts chugging it down. No! Toxoid Breath shouts as he rolls backward. There's no toxins in that! No sulfides! No lead deposits! It's too healthy! Stop! Our whole grain good guy raises the bottle high over his head. He approaches the biohazardous bad guy. I think it's time to clean up your act, he grins. No, please, the tearful tyrant begs as he retreats. Closer and closer, Ecology Man comes. Please, please keep it away, anything but that. And then, oh no, Toxoid Breath has one more trick up his corroded sleeve. He produces 100 cans of aerosol hairspray. He begins spraying each and every one, which releases tons of fluorocarbons into the air. Soon, a giant hole forms in the ozone layer. Suddenly, sunbathers on beaches are getting tans in 30 seconds. They look like shriveled raisins in 45. And in less than a minute, they're reduced to piles of cancerous ash. Give it up, Ecology Man, he hisses. Become my prisoner, or I'll turn the earth into such a greenhouse you'll be growing orchids in your freezer. But our organically grown hero has no choice. He drops his slide projector and mountain spring water into the ground. The vile villain picks him up. Next, Toxoid Breath opens his iron mouth and poisonous fumes rise from his toxic waste stomach. Ecology Man is about to be destroyed. Now, there is no one to stop the spread of the worldwide pollution. Now, the earth will be covered in smog and concrete. Now, department stores will change their elevator music from Barry Manilow to U2. Well, I guess every cloud has a silver lining. Still, what will we do? How will we survive? And then... But there was no then. Unfortunately, I woke up. Even more unfortunately, it was morning. I would have kept thinking about my story on saving the world, but I had a minor distraction to attend to, like saving myself. Okay, sis, opera? Miguel coughed again. It was hard for him to talk, but he forced himself. He had to. He was a lot weaker than last night, and we had to get him to a hospital. Soon. Real soon. Pull open the mouth, he ordered. Spread it out good and wide and catch the wind. Opera and Wall Street obeyed and pulled open the mouth of the deflated balloon. Immediately, the breeze started to rush inside, filling it. Good thing we landed on this ridge, I shouted to Miguel as I tilted the basket and burner on the ground for him to fire. He nodded. Landings and takeoffs are a bear, but at least this wind will fill the balloon. He was right. The wind quickly shoved air into the balloon. The only thing I'd ever seen fill quicker was Opera's mouth when he had a bag of corn chips. Have you got that bungee cord tied to the basket good and tight? Miguel asked. I nodded. He craned his neck for a better look. Better nod it a couple more times just to be sure. He didn't have to ask twice. I'd already tied the other end to a distant tree. Don't get me wrong. I was no Boy Scout. I only knew one type of knot, but I figured with enough loops, tangles, overlapping tangles, and more overlapping tangles, something was bound to stick. Now go down to the top of the balloon and hold that crown line steady like last time. Miguel started coughing again. It's going to be rough, so hang on. He wasn't fooling about the rough part. I ran down, wrapped the rope around my hand, and immediately started getting whipped about. First to the left, then to the right. It was like a crazy dance, like the hokey pokey. But instead of putting my left arm in and taking my left arm out, the balloon was throwing my body in and my whole body out. Finally, it was inflated. I headed back to the basket where Wall Street and Opera were doing all they could to hold it down. Get in, Miguel shouted. But how do I? I'll tell you everything through the walkie-talkie. Just get in and keep firing the burner. Hurry! Miguel had brought along an extra walkie-talkie. He kept 2 in the basket and 2 in the trunk. Once again, I showed my athletic abilities by leaping into the basket and landing head first. Wally! Wally! Here, I shouted as I popped back up in my famous McDougal the Idiot grin. And why not? If I was going to die, I at least wanted to be pleasant about it. Squeeze the burner handle, Miguel shouted. Keep the flame going, squeeze it. I reached up to the brass handle, squeezed, and whoosh! The flame shot up into the balloon. Seconds later, the basket started to scrape forward. Miguel shouted to Opera and Wall Street, Hold it as long as you can. And they did, for a whole 3 seconds. And then, just like that, the basket scooted down the road and took off. Being a great man of courage, I did what any great man of courage would do. I yelled my lungs out, Miguel! But it did no good. Suddenly, I was airborne, racing over the road like an airplane taking off. The only problem was my runway made a sharp turn to the left. No problem, except the wind did it. It just kept going straight into a giant stand of trees up ahead. That meant only one thing. One of those trees was about to have a little operation. One of them was about to receive a permanent McDougal implant. Keep firing the burner, Miguel shouted. Keep firing the burner. Whoosh! I followed orders perfectly. Unfortunately, the balloon didn't. Instead of going up, it kept racing ahead. No way could I clear those trees. I was heading straight for them. And then, when one of those branches was about to perform open McDougal surgery, the bungee cord reached its end. It started to stretch. As it stretched, it slowed me down. As I slowed down, I shot up. All right, Wally, Opera in Wall Street cheered from below. Way to go, McDougal. The cord continued to stretch, and I continued to rise. Soon I was above the treetops, and sooner still the ground wind started to fade. The bucking and bouncing grew less and less. Well, what do you know, I thought. I finally did something right. My walkie-talkie hissed and clicked as Miguel's voice came through. Nice work, Wally. Thanks, I said, grinning. Wally, can you hear me? Wally? Oh, sorry, I said, fumbling with the button. I guess I have to push this thing down to talk, right? Right. Now all you have to do is stay put. Fire that burner when I tell you, and everything will be... Suddenly, the balloon gave a little shudder. What was that? I asked. What was what? It shuddered again. That, I repeated. Don't worry, Miguel replied. As long as you have that bungee cord tied good and tight, you're perfectly safe. I looked down at the cord tied to the basket. Uh-oh. Listen, Miguel, about tying that cord. If it should happen to, come undone or anything... The balloon gave another shudder as the overlapping tangles that I called a knot kept unwinding. Relax, Miguel assured me. But I mean, if that bungee cord breaks, Miguel chuckled, you'll know before any of us if there really is a God. I tried to return the laugh, but it's hard to laugh when your heart's stopping. When you're watching a bungee cord finish untangling its last tangle and start slipping away. When you feel yourself being shot up into orbit at 1,000,000,8 miles a second. Wally! Wally! It figures, I muttered, my whole life reduced to a broken bungee cord. A broken bungee cord that isn't even broken. And that's it for today. Chapter 9 is Tests of Faith. Bye.